Hey there, Lionesses. This is Bobby Carlton. I'm the publisher and editor in chief of Lioness Magazine. I'm also the founder of Innovation Women, an online speaker bureau for entrepreneurial, technical, and professional women. Today, we are speaking with Marin Gardner. She is the owner of Ember Craft Creations. She's an artist, she's a leather worker, and she's a visual storyteller. She's also an entrepreneur, which is why she's here with us today. So welcome, Marin. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Bobby. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thanks so much for coming. I can't believe it. I am so excited to have you here today. And I know you've been so busy. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to join us.
I really have been busy. It's been crazy watching my business grow and experiencing all of the growing pains that comes with that, especially after the pandemic hit. And I've been selling my work since 2017, but I transitioned to full-time business at the end of 2019. So I transitioned to full-time, then the pandemic hit. I had to come up with a whole business plan on how to work entirely online and how to sell my stuff online. And then when fairs and events started opening up again, I had to add those in somehow. So it's been a roller coaster, but it's been a really great experience.
And one of the reasons that I was so specifically excited to have you joining us is you are turning art and your passion into a thriving business. And the pandemic was so tough for so many women, their careers, their businesses, but a lot of women are looking at their art, and I'm not going to say this is you, but hobbies, and thinking about whether they can turn those things into either a lucrative side hustle or a full-fledged business. So tell us about Embercraft. I mean, what are your products like? Maybe you can show us a few.
Absolutely. So as you said, I work primarily in leather. I'd say my style is kind of a mashup between fantasy and history with a lot of nature-related themes thrown in. I get a lot of inspiration from nature. And I think what makes my work special is, or one of the things that makes my work special is the fact that I include the Norse runes in each piece. I'm very connected to the Norse runes as a spiritual tool, and I actually use them to personalize each piece to the customer. Each rune has a different meaning, and they choose the runes that they feel drawn to, so that the piece, when they wear it or use it, can help them manifest their intentions and help them through difficult times. And I do have a couple pieces to share with you today. This is one of the pieces that I made first for myself, and I loved it so much that I decided to start selling it. This is one of my more everyday pieces and nature inspired, not only in the maple leaf motif here, but also in the fact that all of the leather in this collection is recycled material, scraps from a local shoe factory, and 10% of every sale goes to one tree planted to help reforestation across the world. And another one of my pieces, one of my more costumey pieces, is this wolf mask. My leather masks are one of my more unique collections, in that I don't really see a lot of people making leather masks in the same style that I make mine. I'm entirely self-taught, so I think that adds a lot to my style. And as you can see, the runes on there are bound together to help the wearer find their destined path. And I'm also wearing one of my more everyday jewelry pieces. This is the Maiden Mother Crone choker necklace. It's inspired by the moon phases and the triple goddess symbol in Celtic mythology. And I don't know if you can see it, but the rune on this dangling piece right here represents balance.
Very neat. Now, how did you get started in leather crafting? I mean, were you always the artistic kid in school?
It definitely was. I think I put my 10,000 hours, so they say, into art and drawing and all sorts of materials, probably before I even finished middle school. I was always drawing in my notebooks and my homework, all over my school supplies, much to the dismay of my teachers. And I really just spent every waking moment exploring new materials and new methods of creating art. I even taught myself leatherworking in order to make a beautiful fantasy prom dress in high school.
Oh my goodness.
It came out pretty
Wow.
great.
And that was the first time you'd been working in leather?
No, I think that was after, well, I taught myself leatherworking and did some other projects along the way. That was definitely a big project that kind of culminated my high school art chapter in life. But I primarily learned leatherworking in order to make costumes, because I've always been really interested in making costumes, specifically for going to events like Renaissance fairs and dressing up as my favorite characters from books and TV shows. I've always been really interested in telling a story with art and with wearable objects.
Nice. So one of the things is a lot of absolutely amazing artists are not successful business people. I mean, there's even the term starving artist. I would love to talk to you about what you've learned about running a business.
Absolutely. I've definitely learned a lot about running a business. And I think the main reason why a lot of artists don't succeed at running a business is because you have to love both sides of it. You have to love both the creation of the art and running a business, because it really is both. You can't just have one or the other. I mean, you can have running a business without making art. You can't, make a living selling your art on your own without also being an entrepreneur. And, over the years, I've spent a lot of time and put a lot of work into learning how to be a graphic designer, a marketing director, customer service, head of sales, shipping department, everything, because you really have to wear 10 hats in order to do it. So I think, it can be really overwhelming to a lot of people, but luckily I love every bit of it.
So are there some, I'll call them non-obvious things that you've learned, or surprises, things that popped up? You're like, oh, I would have not expected that one.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the most important lessons I've learned as in my in running of this business is how to price my work correctly. It's not really an intuitive thing for an artist to know how to price their work correctly, because when we make a piece of art, it's not natural to give it a number. You have to really calculate it. You have to calculate the time that goes into it, the time that you spend working on your business outside of making the physical piece, the cost of the materials. You have to consider actually making a profit, which is something I didn't even think of until I started going full time. And I thought, oh, this is a business now. But I'm so lucky that I had a lot of friends that I met through my online community who had already been running their own art businesses for a while. So they already had the years of experience, and they were able to teach me these pricing methods and these equations that I needed in order to accurately price my work. And actually, once I started pricing my work correctly and valuing my pieces what they're actually worth, I started to notice more sales, which was a huge surprise. I was always afraid that if I priced my work higher, I would get fewer sales, but it's not true, because the higher price tag actually helps separate your handmade art from the world of fast fashion in customers' minds. They see your work, they see the price tag, and they know the work that went into it and the quality of what they're buying. So it actually helped my sales. It didn't hurt them. And that's what I wish every artist out there could know.
That is a great point. And I think pricing to properly give people the impression of art versus, dare I say, craft, I think is really important. You mentioned online community or growing a community. And I think a lot of business people and artists They can tell you who their target market is, but they don't know much about growing a community. And you grew a community. So you built a community online, plus you have your community that you've connected with in person. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So once the pandemic hit, as I was saying earlier, I didn't have the opportunity to sell my work in person. So I had to rely entirely on my online community and building my social following. And I luckily already had a fairly strong social following from years of casually posting my work online and running my business part-time. But I really had to dive in and really teach myself new ways of building that online community and connecting with people. I think one of the things that really helped me was meeting friends online who were also doing similar things. Like I said earlier, I've met a few friends who helped me learn essential tools on how to run my business because they had already been doing it for a while. And meeting people and making those connections online not only helps you learn, it also helps you gain followers and gain a network because you can share each other's work, you can help support each other, and your followers become their followers become your followers, and it's like a spider web. It just branches out, and all of a sudden you are part of something. And once I had that online community, I depended on that for my sales for 100% of 2020. It was only online sales, so it was essential. And it's really comforting to know that, if something like that ever happens again, if I can't do physical fairs and events for an extended period of time, I can always fall back on that and still run my business. Yeah. But when fairs did open up again, I found that community as well. And that was also really incredible.
Are you finding that they're feeding each other?
I think they are, definitely. Yeah, when I meet people at Renaissance fairs, they find me online. And I think having both points of contact helps people remember you and, helps you stick in their brain. And so I think the people who I've met in person are more dedicated online followers because of that. I think Renaissance fairs just really works for my work. I think it's a more targeted method of marketing than online marketing. So I think it's easier to make those connections at Renaissance fairs than online. I think when I've been at Renaissance fairs, it feels like a little pocket world outside of the modern day society. So I think people are more in tune with what's happening there. I think people give each other more respect. They treat each other like family. And they have a deeper level of appreciation for handcrafted products and unique art.
Nice. You've leveraged social media platforms really well. I would love to get some tips from you for other entrepreneurs who are looking to grow their businesses that way. I mean, some suggestions, perhaps?
Absolutely.
One of the things you told me before is likes don't mean much. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, that was one of the hardest lessons to learn because it's so easy to look at the number of likes and put stress on yourself to get a higher number and treat it like a popularity contest. But in reality, likes don't translate to sales. I've never found that to be true. I used to work so hard for likes, and then I realized that it's really the connections that you make that lead to loyal customers and an online community. So rather than looking at the number of likes, focus on the messages you receive, focus on the conversations you have, strike up conversations in your comments section, ask people questions, and really, let them know that you are interested in them and their lives, and share a little bit of your life as well, because that's what people remember and that's what people respond to. When I scroll Instagram and I see a random post and I give it a double tap, I'm not going to remember that the next day. But if I have an actual conversation with someone, I'll remember that.
That's a great piece of advice. You can spend all of your time on social media. I mean, people do. And dive down into that. How much of your time are you spending on marketing and visibility and community building versus creating actual product?
It depends on the type or it depends on the time of year and what I'm focusing on at the moment. When I'm at Ren fairs or Renaissance fairs, I don't have as much time to spend on social media, but when it's the off season for fairs, it's the on season for online marketing. So it's depending on the time of year, it's anywhere between 30 to 50% of my time is spent on marketing, website management, and community building. And when you're doing all of that, along with creating and designing physical products, it can be really easy to burn out your creative energy. So one of the things that I've learned on how to retain some of that creative energy is that it's okay to recycle well-performing content every so often. That's another one of my tips for social media marketers or artists. You don't have to be creating new things all the time in order to get your work out there. If one of your followers sees one of your posts and they love it and they see it again in a month, they're not going to hate it. They're going to like it again. So it's really not a detriment to recycle some content every so often. And with video content nowadays, since that's where social media is trending, it's really easy to take footage from a previous video and edit it and tweak it a little bit to make a new style of video. So, and TikTok is honestly built on recycling trends, sounds, and video ideas. So it makes it pretty easy to recycle content and keep from burning out.
Now you have all of these different platforms you're active on. Any favorites?
Well, Instagram is definitely my most long-standing social platform. That's where I started to grow my online community. So I think that definitely has a special place in my heart. It's where I have most of my art friends, where we support each other, and I'm most comfortable with Instagram, but I'm definitely learning to love TikTok. And it's been a challenge. It's been a little bit of a transition because it's so new and I'm not really a natural at video creation, but I've been learning a lot and, like looking at all sorts of creators' feeds in order to get ideas and get inspiration. And I think this year, I'm definitely going to try to focus more on video creation.
Nice. Okay. Other tips for other entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. I think the next big tip I have is to be authentic in your social media marketing. It can be really easy to default to a faceless brand, but I think people are bored of that. I don't think it's very interesting. There's, a brand for everything. They're kind of, a dime a dozen. And it's way more important to have a personality and to show people that there's a face and a person behind the account. So rather than just focusing on your product, share some things about your life, share why your products mean something to you and why they could mean something to your followers too. And that's how you make connections and that's how you stick in people's minds. And I think a couple of easy ways to start doing that is to give an introductory post every so often. Every month or so, share a little bit about yourself, about you as an entrepreneur or as an artist, and get your followers to share something about themselves. You can also use the stories function for both Instagram and Facebook as kind of a temporary peek into your everyday life. And that's honestly what people look for in stories, is those little snippets of daily life. So those are great tools to use, and don't be afraid to post many stories a day. I honestly post like when I'm really active, between 8 to 10 stories a day.
Oh my goodness. All by yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't have to be very intensive. They could just be, hey, look at how cute my cat is. Those honestly do the best.
I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Even if
Cute
you don't have a cute,
puppies,
yeah,
kitties.
even if you don't have a cute animal at home, there's plenty of other ways to give little snippets into your life and your stories.
What about collaboration? I mean, you talk about a community of other artists, I mean, how are you working with others?
Yeah, absolutely. Collaboration is one of the best ways to grow your online community. And there's so many ways to do it. There are countless ways to collaborate. You can start by just trading products with other accounts, other businesses, and style them with your products, and have your other, like have your partner do the same. And soon you'll have some of their followers, they'll have some of your followers, and you'll have that connection in that partnership in the future as well. If any future collaboration projects come down the line, you can create a trend and invite your followers to participate, like a TikTok trend, or some sort of dance, maybe some sort of video trend. For example, I created this video called Pass the Rune back in 2020. And it was modeled after the idea of the hairbrush passing trend, where people would do their makeup and pass the brush off screen. And it would cut to a video of another person catching the brush off screen, doing their makeup and passing it. So instead, I had all of my followers make videos of themselves catching a rune of their choice. They showed it to the camera, took it away as the transition, and they were in their costumes or Renaissance fair outfits, or they looked like they were ready for a pagan ritual. So they really could wear whatever spoke to them and whatever helped them feel closer to their ancestry, or to their favorite mythology, or their spirituality, and cut all these videos together to a wonderful song by one of my favorite bands, High Lung. And it created this amazing, beautiful collage of all these transformations. And it went viral and hit 7 million views.
I was going to say, I saw it. And if it's okay with you, we will put a link in the story that we create here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was definitely one of my favorite collaboration projects that I did with my followers. And it was a lot of work. It was definitely more work than, an easier collaboration. But it was worth it. And I gained all of my Facebook followers from that video.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So as an artist, like, your product is really an extension of yourself. I mean, but that can be so hard if you're looking at growing your company or scaling, but you've done some things that do allow you to grow. I mean, can we talk about your growth and expansion strategies?
Absolutely. Yeah, it can really be daunting to scale an art business, because especially when you're making physical product, you don't want to turn into a full-fledged factory and lose that sense of artistic integrity. So rather than focusing on scaling up my physical production, I've come up with some ideas on how to scale up my content production and monetize it. So there's a couple ways that I've been trying to do this, and I'm still working on it. So they haven't quite reached the level of my physical product sales, but I'm hoping to give more time to these programs as the year goes on. One of these ways is my membership program, and I modeled it after the idea of Patreon, which I don't know if you know what Patreon is, but it's this online way for artists to monetize their content. Basically, my members pay a monthly fee for access to my secret blog on my website. And this blog has all sorts of peeks behind the scenes. It has all sorts of content on mythology and rituals and runes. It's got our unedited photo shoots. My partner and I do a lot of fantasy photo shoots to style my products. And it's fun to just photo dump a whole bunch of those photo sets on my blog for my members. But as well as access to my secret blog, they also get discount codes for every order, free gifts with every order, and early access to all of my product launches. So if you're, a regular customer, it's actually sometimes cheaper for them to be members and pay that monthly fee for all these benefits. So as well
How to
as
monetize your super fans.
exactly. So as well as a way to monetize content, it also is a way of retaining customers.
Marin, those sound so exciting. Are there other ways that you're expanding your business?
Yeah, I actually have been getting into making online leather crafting classes for my followers to learn leathercraft. And I've been partnering with another small business in the Portland, Maine area called Needfire. They run their own online class platform, and I've been teaching classes with them as tech backup. And we've been recording these online classes to sell alongside my DIY kits. So it's a great way for students to, pick up a DIY kit, purchase a couple classes, follow along, and learn the art of leather crafting. And it's been so incredibly rewarding to see these people, these students, learn from my videos. And it's so cool to see the work, the art that they make from it. It feels like I'm passing on this knowledge and this love for the art of leatherworking.
And expanding your online community. Look, Marin,
Exactly.
look what I did.
Exactly. And they post them online with, my tag and my hashtag. And I get to see what they've done, and they let people know that I make online classes. So
Yay.
it's a great way to expand without making too much physical product. And
we are kind of coming to the close here today. Any other things that you'd like to share, or maybe what's next for you in Embercraft?
yeah, absolutely. There's so many other things that I would like to share. It's so hard to choose. I think going into 2022, I'm definitely going to, like I said, focus on making more video content, then at more Renaissance fairs. But one of the things that I'm going to work hardest on, and I think is my best piece of advice to all of the artists out there wanting to turn their art into a business, is I'm going to focus on making more time for myself and making more time to take breaks. It's been one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn, because when you're doing what you love all the time, it's so easy to work every minute of every day and burn out. And I started trying to take breaks. I still fell into the trap of working too much, and by the end of last year, I was completely burnt out. And I'm actually just coming off of a full 3-week break from doing anything business related, because I knew I needed to do something to keep myself from resenting the work that I love so much. And luckily, I'm feeling so much better now, and I'm ready to go into this year with more structured breaks, more hobbies, more activities that bring me away from the studio. So I think if any artists are watching this, or any entrepreneurs too, because it happens with everyone, take care of yourself.
That is a great way to end this. All right. Thank you again so much for joining us today. And we have been talking with Marin Gardner. She is the owner of Embercraft Creations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bobby. This was so fun. Have a great one.